There is a grief that comes with no funeral, and you have been carrying it alone for a long time. No casserole arrives at the door for this one. No card. No one stands beside you in black and tells you they are sorry for your loss. Because to everyone looking on, you have not lost anyone. The person you love is still here. They still breathe, still sit in the chair across from you, still wear the face you have loved for decades. And yet you are grieving them, deeply, daily, the way you would grieve the dead. Because the person inside that familiar face is slipping away from you a little more each week, and you are losing them in slow motion, with no end to the goodbye and no name for the sorrow. I know what happened the last time their eyes found yours and something was not there. The flicker of not knowing, the polite, distant kindness they offer you now, the way a person is kind to a friendly stranger. Maybe they called you by the wrong name or asked when you were coming, not knowing you had never left. Maybe they spoke of you in the third person, wondering aloud where you were while you sat right beside them holding their hand. Each of those moments is a small death, and you have died 100 of those small deaths now, and there is no one to bury. And so there is nowhere for the grief to go. It just stays in you, accumulating, unspoken. You grieve forward, too, not only what is already gone, but what is still coming. You know, because you have read about it or watched it begin, what lies further down this road. And so you mourn losses that have not even arrived yet, bracing for the day they will not be able to feed themselves, or speak at all, or the day they look at you and there is nothing left behind their eyes. You are grieving the future at the same time as the present, mourning a person who is still partly here, while dreading the deeper absence ahead. Few griefs are as exhausting as the one that mourns in two directions at once. And it has come in pieces, each one its own small heartbreak. The day they stopped being able to manage their own affairs. The day they forgot a grandchild's name, and the grandchild noticed. The day they could no longer follow a simple story, or got lost somewhere they had known their whole life, or asked the same question for the 40th time in an hour. The day they no longer remembered the wedding, or the children's births, or the decades you built together. As though the whole shared architecture of your life had quietly fallen away from them while they were standing right next to you. You have grieved 1,000 of these, and almost no one around you understands that each one was a real loss, deserving of real mourning. And the roles have turned in ways you never imagined. If it is your husband or your wife, you have become a nurse to the person who was your partner, a guardian to the one who used to share every decision with you, a caretaker of a body that once held you. If it is your mother or your father, you are parenting the person who parented you, feeding the one who fed you, making choices for the one who once made every choice for you. There is a particular vertigo in that reversal, a wrongness the heart never fully accepts. The one who was your strength now leans entirely on you. The one you ran to is now the one who needs running to. You did not sign up to be the strong one in this relationship, and yet here you are, holding up a person who used to help hold up you. And you carry the memories now, for both of you. The story of your life together, the places you went, the jokes only the two of you understood, the names of people you both once knew. All of it lives in you alone now, because the other keeper of those memories has lost them. You find yourself remembering things and having no one to remember them with, turning to share a recollection and realizing the only other person who held it can no longer reach it. You are the lone librarian of a whole shared life. That is its own quiet grief, and it presses on you every single day. Come and sit with me in this, because I do not look at your situation and see only what the doctors see. I want to speak into the very places this disease has touched, and tell you some things that are true even here, especially here, that you have needed someone to say to you for a long while. Let me begin with the fear underneath all the others, the one you can hardly bear to ask out loud. Is the person I love still in there at all? When the memories are gone, the words gone, the recognition gone, is the real them already lost? And am I caring for an empty shell? Hear me, because this matters more than almost anything I could say to you tonight. The disease can take a great deal. It can take memory and speech and the ability to recognize the faces they love most. But there is something it cannot touch, something that is not stored in the failing tissue of the brain, and that is the soul I made and the place that soul holds with me. Your loved one is not their memory. They are not the sum of what they can recall or say or do. Underneath everything the disease has stolen, there remains a person, fully known by me, fully held by me, whose worth has not dropped by 1 degree because they can no longer remember your name. I do not love them less now that they are diminished in the eyes of the world. I never measured them by what they could remember, and neither, in your best moments, do you. The world has a habit of locating a person in their mind, in their memories, and their words, and their sharpness, so that when those things fade, the world quietly concludes the person is mostly gone. But that was never how I see a human being, and in your heart, you know it was never the truth. A soul is not a set of memories that can be erased. It is something I breathed into them, deeper than thought, deeper than recall, and it does not dissolve as the brain does. The person you love has not been emptied out and replaced by a stranger. They have been hidden behind a failing veil, harder to reach, yes, but not gone, not erased, not less precious. When you bathe them and they do not know why, when you sit with someone who cannot say your name, you are not tending an empty shell. You are caring for an immortal soul that I formed and I treasure, whose value has not flickered for 1 instant, however dark the disease has made the windows. My son said something about those who belong to him that I want you to lay over your loved one like a blanket tonight. He said, "They shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand." And then, in case it was not enough, no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. Nothing can pluck them out, not death and not this. The disease is strong, strong enough to take their memory and their words, but it is not stronger than my hand, and it cannot reach into my grip and pull out the one I am holding. Your loved one, whatever they have forgotten, whatever they can no longer do, is held in a hand that this disease cannot pry open. They have not been lost. They have been, this whole time, exactly where they have always been. Safe in me. Picture it the way I want you to carry it. There is a hand around your loved one, my hand, and it is closed, and it is strong. And the disease, for all its cruelty, is on the outside of that hand, unable to reach in. It can ravage the body, it can darken the mind, it can take everything you can see. But it stands outside my grip, clawing at the surface, and it cannot get in. Because no power in this world, or any other, is strong enough to open my hand against my will. The one you love is not slipping away into nothing. From where you stand, it looks like a vanishing. And I know how that looks tears at you. But from where I stand, I am simply holding and holding and holding. And I will not stop holding when the body finally fails. Because death is no more able to pluck them from my hand than this disease was. They are kept. They were always kept. And here is something tender enough that I want to say it gently. You are terrified that they have forgotten me, too. That as their faith fades from memory, along with everything else, they have drifted out of my reach. So let me tell you who is doing the holding in this relationship. My book says, if we believe not, yet he abideth faithful. He cannot deny himself. The bond between me and one of mine was never held together by their grip on me. It was always held by my grip on them. A child does not stay mine because they can remember they are mine. They stay mine because I cannot deny myself, cannot break my own word, cannot stop being faithful, even when they have lost the ability to be faithful back. So when your loved one can no longer pray, no longer recall a single verse, no longer even remember my name, hear this, and let it loosen the fear in your chest. I have not let go of them. I never required them to hold on. My faithfulness does not depend on their memory. It never did. If something in you is breathing a little easier as I say this, do not let the next hard day take it back. There will be a next hard day. You know there will. If it would help to come back here and hear this again, on the evening when the fear and the exhaustion rise up together, you are welcome, as often as you need it. I do not grow tired of saying these things to a heart that is carrying what yours is carrying. Now let me speak to you, the one doing the loving, because I have not forgotten you in all of this. Everyone's eyes are on the patient, as they should be. But I see the one in the corner of the room, the one who has not slept properly in months, who has become nurse and guardian and decision-maker and mourner all at once, who is quietly disappearing under the weight of it. I see you. I know how tired you are, in a way that goes past the body. There is the physical exhaustion, the broken nights, the lifting and the watching and the never being off duty. But underneath it is a deeper tiredness, the soul weariness of grieving someone who is still here, of being a husband or a wife to a person who no longer knows they are married to you, of loving someone who can no longer love you back in the way you have leaned on for a lifetime. You are pouring out and pouring out, and so little comes back now. And there is a particular kind of lonely that comes from being married to, or daily caring for, someone whose company you can no longer truly share. The conversations are gone. The partnership is gone. You are, in the deepest sense, doing this alone, even when you are never physically alone for a moment. For that exhaustion, hear what one of my people wrote when his own strength had run out. My flesh and my heart faileth, but God is the strength of my heart, and my portion forever. He does not pretend his strength held. He admits it failed. The flesh failed. The heart failed. Everything in him that he had been running on simply gave out. And then he reaches past himself for a strength that does not fail. God is the strength of my heart. When your own strength is gone, and it will go, I do not ask you to manufacture more of it. I become it. I am the strength underneath your failing strength, the portion that does not run dry when everything you had has been spent. You are not running on your own reserves anymore. You are far past those. I know. You are running on mine now, and mine do not empty. And do not be alarmed by how depleted you have become, as though your emptiness were a failure of love. The strength you started with was always going to run out. No human reserve was ever built to carry a years-long vigil like this. The fact that you are scraping the bottom is not a sign that you love too little. It is a sign that you have already given almost everything you had, and given it faithfully for a very long time. So stop measuring yourself against the person you were at the start of this, the one who had energy and patience and resilience to spare. That person spent themselves on this, willingly, beautifully. The one who remains, tired to the bone and running on fumes, is not a lesser version. They are the same love, simply farther down the road of pouring out. And it is exactly there, at the end of yourself, that I become what you draw from. Not a supplement to your strength, but a replacement for it when yours is finally gone. And I want to free you from a guilt I see you carrying, because it is heavy and it is undeserved. You have felt things in this long season that have shamed you. Flashes of anger at a person who cannot help what they have become. Resentment at the life this has taken from you. Moments in the dark when you have caught yourself almost wishing it were over, and then been horrified at yourself for the thought. Hear me clearly. Those feelings do not make you a bad or unloving caregiver. They make you a human being carrying an inhuman weight. The anger is not at them, it is at the disease, and it is righteous. The exhaustion-born wishes are not betrayal. They are the cry of a worn-out heart that wants the suffering, theirs and yours, to end. I am not shocked by any of it, and I am not condemning you for it. I know your heart, all of it, the love and the weariness and the guilt tangled together, and I look on all of it with tenderness, not judgment. Lay the guilt down. You are loving harder than most people will ever be asked to love. And while we are naming the things you have not dared say aloud, let me name one more. Sometimes you grieve not only for them, but for yourself, for the life you thought you would have in these years, the retirement you pictured, the trips, the ease, the simple companionship of growing old beside the person you chose. All of it quietly canceled and replaced by this. You are allowed to grieve that too. Mourning the life this disease has taken from you is not selfishness. It is honesty. You lost something real when their mind began to go. Not only them, but the whole future the two of you were supposed to share. And pretending you are not also grieving your own losses will not make you holier, only more alone with them. Bring me even that grief, the selfish feeling one, the one about you. I am not offended by it. I made you for that shared life too, and I grieve its loss alongside you. Let me tell you about a woman who chose to stay, so you will know that the staying itself is seen and honored. There was a younger woman named Ruth, bound to an older woman, Naomi, who had grown bitter and broken with grief and had nothing left to offer her. No future, no security, nothing but a hard road ahead. Everyone agreed Ruth had every reason to leave, to go back to her own people and her own chances. And Ruth would not. She said to the woman she had bound herself to, "Whither thou goest, I will go. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God." She tied herself to a person who could give her nothing back, and walked the hard road beside her, and stayed. And I did not forget it. I wove that quiet, unglamorous faithfulness into one of the most honored stories in all my book. And from that staying came a lineage that ran all the way down to the Savior of the world. The world rarely notices the one who stays and serves and asks for nothing back. I always do. The faithfulness you are showing right now, in a room no one applauds, to a person who cannot thank you, is not invisible to me. It is some of the most beautiful love a human being can offer. The love that keeps showing up when there is nothing left to be gained by it. And I am keeping every record of it. Notice, too, what Ruth was not promised in return. No one told her it would pay off. No one assured her that staying with a bitter, broken woman would lead anywhere but to more hardship. She bound herself to that hard road with no guarantee of reward, simply because love does not abandon the one it loves when the loving gets costly. That is the kind of love you are giving right now. Love with no contract, no promise of return, no applause waiting at the end. And it is precisely that uncontracted, unrewarded faithfulness that I treasure most, because it is love at its purest, love that has been stripped of every selfish motive until only the love itself remains. The world calls that kind of staying foolish or wasted. I call it holy, and I do not forget a moment of it. And I am writing your name into the same book where I wrote hers. And there is something even deeper I want you to see in what you are doing, because it will change how you understand these long, thankless days. When you love someone who can no longer remember you, who cannot return your love or even recognize the one giving it, you are doing exactly what I have done for my people since the beginning. Again and again, all through my book, my people forgot me. They forgot my works, forgot my name, forgot the covenant, turned away as though they had never known me. And I did not stop loving the ones who forgot. I kept my promises to a people who could not remember theirs. The love that keeps reaching toward someone who has forgotten you is not a lesser love. It is the very shape of my own love, the most godlike love there is. In these forgotten rooms, doing this unseen and unreturned work of devotion, You are closer to the heart of who I am than you have ever been. You are loving the way I love. Most love, if you are honest, runs on receiving. We love those who love us back, who remember our kindnesses, who return our affection and make us feel known. There is nothing wrong with that. I built you for relationship. But there is a higher and rarer love, and it is the love that keeps giving when nothing comes back, when the other cannot even register that they are being loved. That is the love I have poured out on a forgetful human race since the beginning. And it is the love you are pouring out now in a room where no thanks will come. When you wipe a chin that will not remember being wiped, when you answer the same question with the same gentleness for the 100th time, when you keep showing up for someone who has stopped being able to know that you came, you are not doing something small or wasted. You are doing the most divine thing a person can do. You are loving the unrememberings the way I have always loved mine. Now hear what is true about the one you are losing, and about the waters you are walking through. Because I spoke words long ago that were made for exactly this. I once said to a frightened people, I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. Two things are in that, and both are for you. The first is for the one you love. I have called them by their name. Even as their own name slips from their grasp, I still hold it, still speak it, still know exactly who they are. They have not become nameless to me, however far the forgetting goes. And the second is for you. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee. Notice it does not say, I will keep you out of the waters. You are in the waters. There was no way around them, only through. But it says, you will not pass through them alone, and they shall not overflow you. You feel many days as though you are going under. You are not. You are passing through deep and bitter water, and I am in it with you, and I will not let it close over your head. Sit with that first promise a moment longer, because it is a balm for the deepest fear. Their name is slipping from them. Soon they may not know it themselves, may not answer to it, may look blank when you speak it. But a name is not truly lost as long as someone still holds it. And I hold it. To me, your loved one is not a diagnosis or a patient or a fading shadow of who they were. To me, they are still the particular, named, knit-together person I formed in the first place, as fully known to me on their worst day as on their best. The disease has not changed by one letter, the name I call them. And on the day they cross from this life into mine, they will not arrive confused or nameless or lost. They will arrive known, called by name, fully themselves, home. The forgetting is real, but it is not the truest thing about them. The truest thing is that they are mine, and I have called them by their name, and I always will. So here is how I would have you walk this long road. In the days and the strength I will give you, take care of yourself, and do not let anyone, including your own conscience, call that selfish. You cannot pour from a cup that has run completely dry, and you have been scraping the bottom of yours for a long time. Accept the help that is offered and ask for the help that is not. Let others sit with your loved one so you can rest, or weep, or simply breathe. Bring in the people, the services, the care that exists for exactly this, the moment it is needed. And do not wear yourself to nothing out of a misplaced belief that love means doing it all alone. It does not. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for the one you are caring for is to make sure their caregiver does not collapse. Resting is not abandoning them. It is how you last. And hear this plainly, because the guilt will fight it. Stepping away to breathe does not mean you love them any less, and bringing in other hands does not mean you have failed. There is a lie that whispers that real devotion means doing every task yourself, never resting, never handing them to anyone else, wearing yourself down to nothing as proof of your love. That is not devotion. It is a slow self-destruction that helps no one. And it will leave you unable to give the care only you can give in the seasons still ahead. The marathon runner who refuses water does not finish the race faster. They collapse before the end. You are in a long race, longer than you wish, and you must take the water. Sleep when you can. Eat. See your own doctor. Keep one friendship alive. Step outside and feel the sun on your face without guilt. Keeping yourself whole is not a betrayal of the one you love. It is the only way you will be able to keep loving them all the way to the end. Grieve as you go, in pieces. And do not wait for some permission that will never come. This grief is real, even though no one died, and you are allowed to mourn each thing as it is lost. The conversations, the partnership, the shared memories that now only you carry. Let the tears come when they come. Talk to someone who understands, a friend, a support group, a counselor, your church. You were never meant to carry a grief this strange and this heavy in silence. And the silence is its own kind of suffering. Let it out into safe hands. Look for them in the small moments and treasure those moments when they come. There may still be flashes, a sudden clarity, a familiar smile, a squeeze of the hand, an old song they somehow still know every word to. A fleeting moment when they look at you and, for an instant, they are there. Those moments are gifts. They do not mean the disease is reversing, and chasing them will only break your heart. But when they come, receive them, hold them. Let them be enough for that moment. The person you love is still reachable in ways the disease cannot fully predict, and love finds doors that memory has lost. And on the practical weight you now carry alone. The decisions and the affairs you once shared and must now manage by yourself. Ask for wisdom and for help, and do not be ashamed to lean on people who know more than you do. This is not financial counsel, only a father's care. You do not have to make every hard decision alone or in a panic. Bring in trustworthy help. Take the decisions one at a time, and let me give you the wisdom you ask for. You were never meant to hold the whole weight of two lives by yourself without support, and there is no shame in needing it. And if this has worn you so thin that you have begun to lose your own will to go on. If the grief and the exhaustion have become a darkness you cannot climb out of, please do not carry that alone for one more day. That is more than this season should ever ask of you, and it is not weakness to say so. Tell someone, your doctor, your pastor, a person who loves you, a counselor who can help you carry this. Reaching for help when you are at the end of yourself is not failing your loved one. It is the bravest and most necessary thing you can do, and I will be with you in it. If these words have found you in the long goodbye tonight, do not sit alone in it the way you have been for so long. You do not have to explain the whole story, how long it has been, how much has been lost, whose name they called you by today. Just write 3 words where others can see them. I am here. Say it among the others keeping their own quiet vigils tonight. The husbands and wives and sons and daughters loving someone who can no longer love them back. And find that this strange and lonely grief is shared by more hearts than you ever knew. I read every one of those words, and I know the whole weight of love behind each. So let me tell you how this story ends, because you cannot see the ending from inside the long middle of it. And the ending changes everything. There is coming a day when the forgetting is over. A day when the disease that has stolen so much will be made to give it all back. When the mind that dimmed will clear like a fog burning off in the morning sun. And the one you love will be whole again. More themselves than you have seen them in years. More than you ever knew them to be. And on that day, they will know you. They will look at you with full recognition and full memory and full love. And they will know everything you did in these long, hidden, thankless years. Every time you fed them and turned them and sat with them and were called by a stranger's name and stayed anyway. Nothing you have done in the dark will be lost. They will know, and so will I. Until that day, here is what is true. The one you love is held in a hand that this disease cannot open. Their name is still spoken by me, even as it slips from their own lips. Your faithfulness in this forgotten room is some of the most beautiful love that exists, and not one moment of it is invisible to me. And you, walking through these deep and bitter waters, are not walking through them alone. I want you to hold a picture of that day, for the times the road feels endless. Imagine them turning to you, clear-eyed, whole, the fog entirely gone, and saying your name, your real name, the way they used to say it, with all the love and all the knowing fully restored. Imagine them telling you they saw, somehow they saw, all of it. The long nights and the patient hands, and the staying when staying cost you everything. That day is not a wish I am inventing to soften this for you. It is a promise, as certain as I am, on the far side of all this forgetting. The story does not end in a blank stare. It ends in recognition, full and final and unbreakable, and it lasts forever. I am keeping them. Whatever they forget, I remember. Whoever they no longer recognize, I still hold. Whatever the disease takes, it cannot take them out of my hand. And I am keeping you, too, in the long middle of this grief that has no funeral, holding you up when your own strength fails, being the portion that does not run dry, walking beside you through water that will not, I promise you, overflow you. Rest tonight, weary one. The love you are pouring out into a place that cannot pour back is not wasted, and it is not unseen, and it is not the end of the story. The end of the story is recognition and reunion, and a face that finally, fully knows yours again. Hold on to that. I am holding on to both of you.